From the pages of Wrestling All-Stars, June 1988, comes a thunderous dive into the most explosive moments, magnetic personalities, and behind-the-scenes truths of the Squared Circle. This wasn't just a magazine. It was a mirror reflecting the pulse of professional wrestling as it tore through the late 1980s like a runaway freight train. We begin at the top, where the editorial declares, "All the stars, all the action, all the time." That was no empty boast. In an era where kayfabe still held strong, Wrestling All-Stars offered fans rare access to the myths, motivations, and mayhem shaping the NWA, WWF, AWA, UWF, and World Class. The roster of coverage was stacked, from Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant to Ric Flair, Curt Hennig, and a young Ron Simmons on the rise. The reader letters section starts with a bang. One furious fan rips the Slammy Awards apart, calling them an embarrassment to wrestling and likening Vince McMahon's self-glorification to a circus act. Another letter sings the praises of Ricky Morton, claiming he's 10 times the wrestler Ric Flair ever was. One fan hails the Road Warriors as the real champions of the world and suggests they could walk into any promotion and walk out with gold. These letters weren't filtered. They were fire, printed raw and uncensored, letting the readers rage just as loudly as the wrestlers roared. From there, the rankings hit. In the WWF, Hulk Hogan sits atop the mountain, but it's clear his grip is loosening. Savage is circling. DiBiase is scheming. Andre is looming. The AWA champion Curt Hennig is gaining momentum with every defense, cementing himself as the best technical wrestler in the country. In the NWA, Ric Flair reigns supreme, but Barry Windham, Lex Luger, and the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, are snapping at his heels. Each territory, each division, feels like it's ready to explode. But nothing compares to the feature on Andre the Giant. The magazine dedicates multiple pages to dissecting the chaotic WWF title controversy at Market Square Arena. Andre defeated Hogan in front of a stunned Indianapolis crowd, but not without scandal. Referee Dave Hebner was supposedly officiating until his identical twin, Earl, showed up and made a fast 3 count. Fans were stunned. So was Hogan, holding the belt in his hands one moment, then watching it handed to Ted DiBiase the next. Wrestling All-Stars doesn't pull punches. It calls it like it was. A setup, a screw job, a moment that shook the WWF's credibility to its core. The photo spread is unforgettable. Hogan's bewildered face, DiBiase's smug grin, Andre's blank stare as he handed over the belt like a mercenary. From betrayal to potential, the magazine transitions into a glowing feature on Ron Simmons. The UWF powerhouse is portrayed as more than a rookie. He's the future. With a college football pedigree, a granite physique, and a ruthless work ethic, Simmons is touted as a game changer. His feud with Rick Steiner is spotlighted, not just for the brutality but for the athleticism. Simmons doesn't wrestle, he collides, the article reads. The magazine suggests that the NWA and even the WWF should be watching. They weren't wrong. History would prove Simmons' star was only beginning to rise. Medusa Maselli gets her own spotlight as AWA Women's Champion. But it's not just her wrestling that grabs attention. It's her charisma, presence, and ability to manage top-tier talent like Nick Kiniski. She's hailed as the complete package, athletic, marketable, and one of the few female stars who could work both as a grappler and a mouthpiece. World-class championship wrestling is next, and it's war in Texas. The Von Erichs still dominate the region, with Kerry and Kevin holding the world tag titles. But the Freebirds have reassembled, and Michael Hayes isn't coming to play nice. The blood rivalry continues, and Wrestling All-Stars captures every chair shot and blood-soaked promo. Chris Adams and Terry Taylor are falling out, a feud ready to erupt, and Tony Atlas is battling Ted Arcidi in a battle of powerhouses. Texas isn't just a battleground, it's a proving ground. Then comes the strange, the surreal, the spectacular. Advertisements for muscle-building books titled Barn Door Shoulders, Awesome Arms, and Meanest Traps in Town. VHS tapes promising to turn you into a wrestling superstar in 30 days or less. A James Bond-style spy camera you can hide in your sock, because of course that's in a wrestling magazine. We then dive into Lex Luger, still presented as the NWA's golden boy. The total package is featured in a multi-page spread showcasing his battles with Ric Flair. The magazine floats the idea that Luger could be the man to finally dethrone Flair, not because he's tougher, but because he's younger, hungrier, and learning fast. The NWA's future may very well ride on Luger's chiseled shoulders. Other notables get brief but impactful mentions. Steve Dr. Death Williams is wrecking everyone in his path. Nikita Koloff is soul-searching, searching for a partner now that Dusty Rhodes has drifted. Hot stuff. Eddie Gilbert is mixing it up in Memphis and Dallas. And in Florida, the simmering feud between Scott Hall and Kevin Sullivan is giving fans some of the most intense promos of the year. As we move into the final pages, the tone turns back to business. There's a pitch for a new all-wrestling newspaper, weekly updates delivered to your mailbox, offering real news the magazines can't print fast enough. For a generation raised before the internet, this was revolutionary. Fans could stay up to date with title changes, surprise returns, and territorial shifts almost in real time. A one-page tribute honors the late Bruiser Brody. The tone is somber but proud. He didn't follow the rules, he tore them up, it says. Photos of Brody in Japan, bleeding, brawling, and towering over opponents, fill the space. It's a fitting goodbye to one of wrestling's most unchained spirits. And finally, we land on what can only be described as the infomercial apocalypse. A full-page spread promotes hot bods of wrestling, a VHS tape that mixes slow-mo shots of shirtless stars with dreamy synth music. The magazine dares you to resist it. Somewhere between a fitness video and a Valentine's Day card, it closes the issue with a laugh or a blush.